Okay, bend the bottom knee, straighten the top leg. Good, bring it back. Scoot your butt forward about 2 inches. Slide through your feet a little bit. Okay, we essentially want our patient to be pretty comfortable, because if they're uncomfortable or if they feel like they're going to fall, you'll get unnecessarily fired. Okay, so throw a pillow, try and set them up so that they feel pretty secure. Set them up in a neutral alignment so it gives them their best shot. Glute med through range. What's that going to look like? Hip abduction, yeah. All right, go ahead and lift the leg up. Okay, come down. What am I looking for?
Deviation skills.
What's the first one?
Oh, is active equal passive?
Okay,
Deviation compensation or weakness.
good. So, is active equal passive? Start to come up. You know that? You know the range?
No.
Hey, you don't know yet. Okay, let go, let go, let go. Is active equal passive?
No.
No. Okay, now, what's this? No, wait, on his body. Iliac crest. So I'm a feeler. So I'll look, but I like to feel. So I am not helping him. I am watching. Okay, now start to lift. So what's happening? Yeah. What's the difference?
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit down. What's the difference between side bend and hip hiking?
QL?
That's the difference?
Is it activated?
Oh, the iliac crest comes up.
There's no difference.
Oh.
So if the patient's hip hiking or if they're side bending, same thing. All right. So, but if they hike the hip, go ahead and hike your hip. What kind of give is that? Sight and direction.
The side bend give. Right side bend give.
Sight is
Right. Side bend.
right as a lumbar is a sight. Direction is side bend. Where though? Direction. It's a right side bend. So if it's a fail, what muscles fail?
The left side benders.
The left side benders. So what are they? Obliques and QL. Okay? So that would be, bless you, that would be the muscles that gave the give, that allowed the give. Now, the right QL might overact, because let's say we have a hip limitation. Go ahead and start to lift the hip, and that's as high as you can go. Or let's just say there's no more hip range of motion. Okay, keep going, keep going. So now the patient's compensating by overfiring the right QL. Okay, so we could have a right QL compensator, but the muscle that's weak or the muscle that failed to control things are the left side benders. And it tends to be the QL and the obliques. Good? Okay, so that is looking for gives, deviations, compensations happening in the lumbar spine. What kind of gives, deviation, compensations can happen in the leg? Flexion. So let's say Sam flexes and internally rotates. What muscle took over? TFL. Let's say let's say his whole body rolled forward. He extended and externally rotated. Glute max, because it's a powerful external rotator. Okay? But we're also seeing extension. So the glute max does extension and external rotation. So if he rolls forward and he starts to do that, we're going to say glute max took over. Okay? So what motion do we want to see here? Abduction. Now, if we set him up in slight extension, this sets up the line of pull of glute med. So now we're going to say slowly start to lift up for me. Immediately flexion happens. Okay? So let's try and set him up a little better. Rest the knee. Rest. Okay, good. Now slowly start to lift up. That's as far as we get. Right? Now watch. Okay? Go further. Go. Try. So now, what is he doing? That was interesting. He's trying. What is he doing well? Not compensating. But that really revealed the active doesn't equal passive. Okay? Now, let yourself compensate. Go ahead and lift. Okay? Now he rolled back and he flexed, internally rotated, so he had 2 gives. Okay? So, tough, right?
That was fatigue.
All right, fatiguing already. So now this is, make sure where we are. So let's say he can't get all the way through range and the deviations are coming in. So we want to give him an exercise that he can start to work on. Is side lying abduction the best thing to do for him? No. So what could we do? Could do it standing. What else?
Against the wall. Or no, that's the
Oh, no, that actually is very good. A good wall for that. All right, so why? What do you mean against the wall? What are you thinking?
Gives them tactile cues.
Gives them tactile cues. So I'll be the wall. All right, lie on your side. Stay there. You're going to bring your leg back, and you're going to push into me, and you're going to start to slide up me. Push back into the wall. Look at that. And down. So you got higher with the tactile cue. Was that easier?
No, well, I'm like really fatigued.
So he's really fatigued. All right. So that was a great modification for the exercise. We added a tactile cue. Patient was very aware of keeping the hip in extension, so it prevented the flexion give. Very aware of not allowing the trunk give, so that was an excellent modification. Didn't work. Make it easier. So it could do standing. It says standing, but I kicked that one out. Supine. Go ahead and lie on your back. Okay. Now keep it here, and now start to slide out to the side. Slide your leg out to the side. Slide it out, slide it out, slide it out, slide it out, and come back in. How's that? You getting tired? No. So that fits the bill. Is that going to get the job done? No. Why?
He's not getting tired.
It's not fatigued.
Well, we don't want fatiguing. We're in a motor control breakout, right?
It's not a challenging challenge.
It's not a challenging challenge. All right? So it's too easy.
It wasn't a
That's good. That's good. So we need to make this harder. So we could actually add light resistance so that he had something to push against, and he can work inside line to the point of range, hold it for 10 seconds, and come back in. We want to keep a yellow TheraBand so it's below fatigue. Okay? So that's one option. We could do standing, and that would probably be our best option. Lie on your left side again. We also could set up a pulley system or put him on the Cadillac, which is a Pilates piece of equipment. Bend them out. Okay, so that essentially you straighten out, line the pillow, the rest of your leg. So essentially we deload his leg. So we can time the Cadillac. You have springs you can tie above him. You can do a pulley system from over here where you hook onto the leg, let the leg totally relax. Might need a heavier band just to hold the weight of the leg. So here we are. And now as you start to lift the leg up, keep it back, lift up. The assistance helps. How's that? Okay, come back down, down, down. Okay? So we could do this with him. We could set him up on the piece of equipment to deload the leg. And what would be the dosing?
10 seconds, 10 times.
10 times 10 seconds, but without fatigue. All right? So have your patient sideline, do abductions, set them up. Look for the gives and deviations. Look to see if active equals passive. Okay? Go for it.